Hi, welcome once again to a collection video here on my channel. Thanks very much for tuning in. If you are here for the first time, thank you very much indeed for stumbling across my little corner of YouTube. Hope you like what you see and decide to stay a while, but please don't eat all the cheese. If you are here back again for the umpteenth time, thank you very much for your continued support. It is hugely appreciated. And the Games Pantry this week has a chef's choice of, well, I say this week, it could be any couple of days after the last video, Rogue Squadron on the N64 once again, because the N64 is out and I haven't got any games related to the system I'm going to be showing you available to run, but hey ho, there you go, can't always do it. So yes, I've done all sorts of things. I've done a couple of Sega machines, I've done the Dreamcast and I've done the Master System, so I thought this week, this time, what a really good idea to put up the Sega Mega Drive collection that I have. Again, not a huge amount of games, but a reasonable collection, and not many loose cartridges either, because most of my collection is boxed, not necessarily boxed and complete, it'll be a mixture of both, but we'll see how we get on. So let's talk about the Sega Mega Drive, which has got something plugged into it at the moment, which I'm going to leave on there because I can't get it off. Oh, I can. It's not going to come in. It came out the other day. There we go. Right, come back to that in a second. There we go. So that's my Mega Drive. It is the original model. I do have a Mega Drive 2 knocking around, which is just an abomination of a machine. It doesn't look anywhere near as classy as that. If you were like me and you saw that in the magazines back in the day, you'd be going, this is fantastic, look at the state of this machine, isn't it brilliant? 16-bit labelled across the front of it. You've also got in here a stereo headphone socket at the front, so there's a volume there so you can actually listen in stereo. It was like nothing you'd seen before. This I picked up, not my original one, I didn't own this back in the day originally. I picked it up, I bought my first Mega Drive from a guy at college who was selling his off with a load of games on it. I think I paid about 50 quid at the time, which was about 1994, because he just bought a 3DO. I know which one I would rather have had as well. This one I picked up from a car boot for a £5 about 10 years back. But it's the machine that a friend of mine had back at school. He also had the Master System, and he went on to the Mega Drive, and then he had the Mega CD. He just loved his Sega stuff, and this was just like the stuff of dreams. It really was. Absolutely fantastic looking console. On the back you've got an RF out. You've also got an ability to run it through the yellow white red system, and also the power adapter there. Nothing too excited. A couple of joypad ports on the front. I've got a mixture of the 3-button and 6-button pads, which I'm not going to get out and show you here. Just for those of you interested, this is the model number 1601-05, the serial number of 130175-303. Very interesting to note also that when this first came out, they were being sold or listed in magazines as grey imports, and we thought, we don't want to buy a grey one. Why not a black one like everybody else has? Not necessarily in that sort of accent either, but there you go. But yeah, it's just an awesome machine, just absolutely fantastic. So many memories with this attached to it. One of my favourites of all time. It would be in my top 3 without a shadow of a doubt. No question about it, right up there. There's also that's like an expansion port on the back here, which I'm quite sure what that's for. If somebody could tell me. There's some light there, there it is. An expansion pack light hot slot there, which if I pull that, it's probably going to damage it, so I don't want to have a go at that. But yeah, just an awesome machine, all 4 suction pads, pads on the bottom as well. The thing I was trying to extract at the start of it was actually this monstrosity, which set me back a tenner a few years back. This is the Master System converter. You needed to plug this hulking piece of plastic into your Mega Drive, which will enable you to play Master System games on it, which was absolutely fantastic. I've never been particularly a big fan of the flip up port there, because it looks a bit daft really, but yeah, and obviously it also had the facility as well to put the cards, some original card games, smart card games for it as well, put those in there. Yeah, this is what you had to do to the terms backwards compatible we use nowadays, a list of Xbox original games that came, 360 game that came out a few weeks ago, the last lot of 31 being released, the Xbox One. That's all you needed, a copy of the game to run it. You need the copy of the game and this to plug into the top of that See why Sega got into the habit of doing this, can't you? Do you remember the? And then, you know, at one point you would have the Mega CD over this, and then the 32X plugged into the top of it. They just liked building towers, didn't they? That's what it was. So that plugged into there and overplay Master System games, no problem at all. And it just sort of expanded the life of the machine. You could actually go through Sega's entire back catalogue and play, you know, the arcade games that came out on that system, like Operation Wolf and Rampage and the original Shinobi, and Outrun, etc. Without needing to buy a Master System. You could just plug that in and put that on. It wasn't cheap back in the day, mind you. I mean, that was a tenner. That was a tenner 10 years ago. I actually went to a second-hand shop in Birmingham, which I hadn't been before. I went up with my Mrs. B's father. Just took him for a day. We'd never been to Birmingham before, so we went up there. And I knew there was a shop that sold retro games in a really sort of strange market in Birmingham. It's like sort of like the fetish market in Birmingham, right in the middle of it. I say fetish stuff. It was sort of like alternative, but there was a lot of fetish stuff in there. I don't think he really understood why we'd gone there for computer games, but that's what we did. And right at the bottom of this sort of section, in amongst all the maids' dresses and bondage stuff, was a guy selling retro games out of a shop. Absolutely amazing. And I was on there hoping to have one of those. I hope they have a Master System converter up there. I want to get that. Lo and behold, he did. 10 quid. There we go. Job's a good one. That slots into the top. There we go. Job's a good one. Weighs a ton now. Right. So there were all sorts of different add-ons for it. There was you had the 3-button joypad, the 6-button joypad. You want to play things like Street Fighter 2 on it. There was an arcade joystick as well, great big sort of hulking thing with, you know, the arcade cabinet with the joystick and 3 buttons. There was that there as well. I'm pretty sure, was there a light gun for it? I don't know. There was for the Master System. I ain't sure there was one for the Mega Drive. There may have been. It might be the Menacer. I could be wrong. That's just me thinking on the top of my head. There was nothing like the 3D glasses you had in the Master System when you had the watching the 3D glasses. But yeah, I think it was all about the games there. You were able to buy a converter which allowed you to play Japanese and American games, or if you were really, really careful, as we found out at school, if you actually filed down the edge of your Mega Drive, you could put other cartridges into it, which sounded a bit weird and a bit, what's the word, off the wall. So didn't do that, I don't think, anyway. So let's go through the games and let's see what we've got in my collection. Again, not a big collection, but I think there's some stuff here which you'll be interested in seeing. Only 3 loose cartridges, which I'll show you. First one here is the I think this Sega Mega Drive, might be Mega Game 6 or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, it might be Mega Game 6. You probably want to read that off there. If I get too close, you've got Sega Soccer columns. My eyesight's not so good, so I have to read that there. So Sega Soccer, which was the old World Cup Italian 90 game, which looked absolutely fantastic, but it was still, when it moved around, it was a bit rubbish. Columns, which is practically the world's most common Sega game ever reproduced on a multitude of systems. Super Monaco Grand Prix, which is a fair reproduction of the arcade game. Revenge of Shinobi, which is awesome. The original Sonic game, which you need as part of that, and the original Streets of Rage, which has some of the best music composed ever for a console, especially coming through that on a set of headphones. Fantastic. So 6 games on that cartridge there. Next one up, which I picked up from a car boot, explained why it's real tatty, because of the old wrestling games. This is WWF Royal Rumble. The difference between this and Super WrestleMania was the fact that it incorporated a Royal Rumble match, but apart from that, it was the same average gameplay, I'm afraid. Yeah, a bit of a knackered old sticker on the front of that one, but like I said, it was a loose game. And then finally, I picked this up at a car boot as well, because I was absolutely fascinated by this game when I first saw it in the magazines, and this is Dick Tracy, which is a really hard game, but I don't know, I just love the style and the look of the game, the colours. I think it's really well drawn, and I just love this game. I don't know why, I can't get very far in it, but I absolutely love the game. Don't know why. Didn't like the film, went to see that when it came out in the cinema, and joint cups with Dick Tracy on it. Yeah. These 2 games I showed in my recent trip to Birmingham Gaming Market, so I'll just be very quick with this one. This is M1 Abraham's Battle Tank, which has got the hanger clipped off the front. I also, someone's actually clipped off the inside, which holds the manual in place. This one cost me a couple of quid, which I think is not bad for a Mega Drive game, is it? I mean, it doesn't have to be Sonic the bloody Hedgehog all the time, but you know, £2 for that one. This one cost me a quid from the same place. This is Kawasaki Superbikes. You'll notice a different cover on that one. That's because Sega changed the colourings from the rather brilliant black to blue later on. The hanger's been cut off that one. Has got the Sega label down the side, but I don't think this is the original box. because the cartridge space is actually bigger than the box, the space itself. I don't know. So it might be someone's just put this in here, a little chip off the box there. There's the back of it as well. But that cost me £1. What can you say for a Mega Drive game for £1? You can't say much fairer than that, can you? You really can't. Right then, so on to some other stuff. That doesn't sound good. What is that? Why is there a bit of plastic? Oh, there we go. And the clips has broken off me. Yeah, that's disappointing. Okay. I know what that is now anyway. This is NHLPA Hockey 93. I love this game. I played this to absolute death when I first had it. Absolutely fantastic. These are sort of games that got me through sort of college. And I should have been working, really. But, yeah. But these hockey games were brilliant. Can't get the grips for the new ones, but these were just fantastic. Very common to find. Again, you'll pick those up for absolute peanuts. This one here, World Cup USA 94, which I don't remember playing a great deal. This is the limited edition, which should include the souvenir manual and wall chart. No, just a souvenir manual in this one. I need a souvenir manual. Stupid thing. The important thing is, like, you know, like the hockey one, it's got the tab on. Always, if you buy Mega Drive games, look for the tabs. You occasionally find the blue Sega sticker down the side of the wall. Always look for the tab that show these things are complete and nicely done. And there's some things on there based on the World Cup 94, of course. You could do such things as diving header, volley, overhead kick, sliding tackle, chip, back heel, one-handed save and celebration, 3,000 frames of animation, and all sorts of things. You've got a back pass rule which you can turn on or off. That was a thing at the time, wasn't it? The back pass rule. You could trap the ball before you passed it. You could put weather on. You had the offside rule on or off, and also like the tracker display, so you could see where the players were, all that sort of thing. Not sure if it's any good or not. I don't think it is, but real classic, this one now. And this one here is Road Rash. I should point out, when I bought my Mega Drive off this guy at college, I did trade it in years later for 2 PlayStation 1 games. That's quite embarrassing when you think about it. You trade them in for... I know one of the games was Smackdown. I can't remember what the other game was. I don't think it was anything particularly great, but I think I traded in the Mega Drive with about 30 odd games and I got about £50 for it. And they only took it... I rang them up. It was an independent shop, which is still it's still close to me. In our town, and I rang them up and said, do you still take Mega Drives? And they said, oh yeah. So he said, bring it down and have a look at it. And then I turned up with I'd take all the stuff into work the next day. Bear in mind I used to go on the bus, so I just Mega Drive in. I didn't have the box. I had the box for it as well. Mega Drive in the box and a bag full of games, and I walked to work with it and walked down to the shop at lunchtime. And the guy walked through and said, oh yeah, we're not taking those. Luckily the guy I spoke to the day before previously was in the back, and he said, oh yeah, I did speak to him yesterday. He said we'd take this one. So anyway, yeah, so this is Road Rash, which was an absolute classic of its day. Again, it's got missing a clip holding the manual in place, but there's the cartridge on the inside. Road Rash. So these aren't all the original games I had back in. These are all ones I've bought since then. And this, if you've never played Road Rash before, this is sort of a motorcycle race where you're allowed to sort of like knock people off and even knock policemen over. It's great, really good fun. Here's a game which never quite, I think, captured the feel of the original, the Amiga original, and that's Super Kickoff. It's not a bad game, but it just doesn't work on the console. Very nice inside, actually. Very nice inside. Good manual, good cartridge. But it just didn't feel right to me on the Mega Drive. So I remember when a friend of mine got, because I used to have my arse kicked so many times by my mates on games, because they had all these, you know, and I was playing these games the first time and they've been playing them for weeks. And finally, when this came out, I thought, finally, I will have my revenge. And it didn't quite work out like that in time-honoured fashion. That once again, I failed miserably. It just didn't work on the Mega Drive. Just didn't feel right. It was more difficult with the joypad as well. Surprisingly, when you play it with the joystick, it's great, but when you play it with the joypad, it's slightly different. And even now, when I've played Kickoff 2 on the Amiga using a Mega Drive control pad, because I didn't have a joystick at the time, it just didn't feel the same. It didn't feel the same. Shame, really. Very common game, this one. I think I've got 2 copies of this, actually. I may have a second copy knocking around. which might have a better box on it, I don't know. This is PGA Tour Golf 2. But I love the PGA Golf series. I think they were absolutely just great fun on the Amiga, and also it's well got a giant book. Look at the size of that. A novel. But these were really good games. They sort of took golf games from sort of like leaderboard and just sort of increased the graphics and the way you putted, and just absolutely fantastic. Really worth picking up that one. If you can pick it up for a couple, I mean, you can get it for cheap. I've got a spare copy if anybody wants one. What have we got next? Well, you can't really walk past these without picking them up for 10 pence, can you? This is FIFA 96, which I picked up. You may just be able to see there. 10p from Save the Children shop. Not a great condition copy. That's a little bit of water damage on the old front. Manual's not in pristine condition, but it is. And again, I appreciate it's a football game, but you know, these FIFA games were great back in the day. They really were, before they all went all 3D and rubbish. But let's say 3D and rubbish. You know, sort of FIFA 97 onwards. Just even playing FIFA 96 on the PC and the version on the 3DO, I think it was, just didn't compare to these. These were just brilliant. Yeah, not a great looking copy of that one, but then again it was 10p, so what do you expect? Yes, we're on to sort of moving into some classic games now. This is Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which was a game that I spent hours looking at. A friend of mine he bought Mean Machines, and with it came with a video cassette of upcoming Sega releases, and on there was Sonic 2, I think the Chemical Zone level, which I may have spoken about before, and you could just sit there and watch that for hours on end. It was an amazing game. Quite common, this one now. I thought this was a bit rarer than it was. I actually had 2 copies of this. I gave a mate of mine it for Christmas a few years back, and then I realised he'd already got it still anyway from the original. But that's a really nice copy, that one. Nice looking one. But again, absolute classic game. Here's another real absolute classic game, and this one's a bit more hard to pick up. This is Sonic 3. Again, you know, it's a blue cover on that one. I don't remember. I can't remember. I've played too much of this one, but again, this is really nice on the inside. Nice looking manual, very hardly used, good quality cartridge, and then there's a box at the back there. I've really got to play this one a bit more. It's probably the one I played least of the original Sonic trilogy. I probably played Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine more than I play that one, so I need to give that one a go. This one sort of blew us away with the graphics, but when you actually come back to it sort of 30 years later nearly, it's not quite as good as everyone said it was at the time, and this is Tasmania. Now, it's a fair old game, don't get me wrong. Graphically it was something very different back then, and it sort of blew you away with what it could do. It certainly looked a lot better than, say, that Mickey Mouse game, Castle of Illusion. It looked really good, Castle of Illusion, but I think this one sort of graphically went beyond it. But play it now, it's not quite as fondly revived as some of those games, where Castle Illusion certainly stands the test of time, even though it's on the easy side. This one, not so. It was based on the old cartoon series, but when I played it, it was less like the cartoon series and more like a Tasmanian Devil game, which is a bit strange. I'm never a fan of this game, because I prefer my sports games a bit more sporty as opposed to sort of like cartoony and arcadey, so I was never really a massive fan of NBA Jam. I'm still not a fan of NBA Jam, got to be honest with you. Not one of my favourite games. Didn't stop me owning multiple copies of this game though. NBA Jam, there we go, on the inside. But it's fun to play. You can get some enjoyment out of it, based on an arcade game, which again, if you don't know this one, there have been various revives of it. I think there's so it's PlayStation 2, and I'm not sure when it came out. Again, I think there was there an online version that came out, or a download only version that came out, sort of trying to recapture that. Help me out, somebody, please. But I don't know. But I was never a big fan of, you know, if I want to play a basketball game, I want to play basketball 5-on-5, not 2-on-2 as that was. But again, very well known game, absolute classic from back in the day. Aladdin, which I've shown previously on the Chef's Choice in the background. Don't have the manual for this one, sadly. But what a game this is. I mean, what a game this is on any system. I don't think there's a bad version of this knocking around at all. I wax lyrical about this all the time. It's one of the great looking games. I mean, even now, nearly 30 years later, it's still a fantastic looking game. Plays beautifully on any system. I played it on the Master System, I played it on the Super Nintendo, I briefly played it on the Amiga when it first came out, and I've got this version. It's just a fantastic game. It really is. Everybody who owns a Mega Drive has to have a copy of this. You have to. It's an essential. Absolute essential. What have we got here? Ooh. Now, I like this game. One of my favourites. Street Fighter 2, the Special Championship Edition. I was even more surprised by this one because I got this at Car Boot for a couple of quid. Couldn't believe how it was. I don't think it's worth quite as much as it used to be. Knackered old manual, this one, I'm afraid. But I just picked up because Street Fighter 2, and I thought, well, that's bound to have some value to it. And lo and behold, I think I've seen it's been sort of selling for like 25-30 quid in the past. I don't think it's going to go as much now, especially this is one of the games that's coming on the new Sega Mega Drive Mini due out in the end of September. Really surprised everybody that this is actually coming out on that system. That's that blue Sega label, which you just probably can't see there, stuck down the side, which would have sort of held it in place. I'm not a fan of Street Fighter at all. Don't like Street Fighter 2, but I felt that was I actually like the cover on. That's quite a nice cover. So I thought I'll have that one and just practice on it and make sure nobody kicks my backside again. But then I got no desire to play Street Fighter 2, so I haven't. But yeah, that cost me only a couple of quid, and that was a Car Boot. That was. This one's an absolute pile of toot, to be fair. But it did cost me 50p, so I'm not going to complain about that. You see it there, 50p. There we go. And this is Balls, which is exactly what this game is. 3D balls. Although according to Angus Swan of Mean Machine Sega, the closest thing to Virtua Fighter you will see on the Mega Drive and a fab game. He obviously was taking a bribe, I think, from Accolade at the time. Not a great condition copy, this one, but then again I did find it a Car Boot for 50p. It's got the manual and everything, but generally it's not very well regarded at all. A lot of people put this on their worst Mega Drive games ever list. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that good. What can you say? More Sonic the Warthog. This one is Sonic Spinball, which some people rave about, some people don't like. I'm sort of in the middle. It's Pinball and Sonic the Hedgehog, so 50% of it I quite like. I don't think it quite works, so I must be honest. I can see why they did a game like this, I really do. Sonic was the ideal character for that, quick moving character. You could fly around the screen on a sort of pinball type thing, but it just didn't work, I don't think. It's one of those first times I trying to take Sonic out of Sonic and try to do something different with him, like Sonic and the Black Knight and all those crap games, but yeah, we'll see. Speaking of pinball, I showed this one a few weeks ago on the TV behind me, but I'm going to show you again. This is Dragon's Fury, which when I bought it from a Car Boot for a quid, I was told a few weeks afterwards, I've told this story before, that it was actually worth a bit more than that. It was actually quite a rare game. I don't think it's quite that rare, but it's worth a bit. It also came at the time with the Sega Arcade Classic Limited Edition disc for the Mega CD, which contains Columns, Golden Axe, Revenge of Shinobi, Super Monaco Grand Prix and Streets of Rage. I mean, I always got Golden Axe on there because I don't have a copy of Golden Axe. I really want a copy of Golden Axe. I had Golden Axe 2 when I first had my Mega Drive. I played the heck out of that one. So there we go. I can't see though. I don't know why I keep doing that. You can't see it. I should sit closer, but I can't. Also showed this one a few weeks ago. Half these been shown in the background, which is NHX Attack Chopper. Again, if you're a fan of sort of like that sort of game from that sort of era, that's your sort of thing. If that makes any sense whatsoever. I'm not a big fan of flight simulators, so I'm not sure I'm going to be a big fan of a helicopter simulator, but I don't know, a lot of people rave about these games. I think was it Paul Glancy of Zap64 used to love flight simulators. He always used to review games like that. I can't remember that one. Yeah, MiG-29 and things like that. This is Fatal Rewind, which I think was better known on the Amiga as the Killing Game Show by Psygnosis. Brought out by Electronic Arts. And it's a sort of side-scroller shoot-up. a little character in there. So again, I got this years and years ago. Can't remember where I got it from. Enter the Killing Game Show. There we go. That's what it was called. So it was called Fatal Rewind on the Mega Drive, but it was called Killing Game Show on whatever it was. Not a great condition copy of this game. There is a rip in the manual, rip in the cover. But this is Road Rash 2, which I didn't pay 20 quid for. I got it for a lot less than that. A lot less than that. It's got a broken box, but also has also written some. Oh, there we go. So from Chip Shop 2000 on the 30th of April 1997, there's a written receipt. Going to do now. You know I love my receipts. For 20 quid. I didn't know that was in there. Horrible looking manual. I have to wash my hands afterwards. But it's in there. Road Rash 2. Like I said, it's got a little bit of a rip on the side there. But this is a sequel to Road Rash, which is exactly the same sort of stuff. So there we go. Oh, another helicopter game, but this one I think people will know all about. From the very popular Strike series. This is Desert Strike. There's also Jungle Strike, Soviet Strike, and Miners Strike. Or did they cancel that one? I can't remember. But this was a game which sort of like everybody raved about. Isometric. If you played Zaxxon years and years ago, it's sort of like that sort of view with a helicopter flying around, but it's really good fun. Really good fun. And it came out around the time of the Gulf War, so I think there's a bit of controversy about it at the time. So, but yeah, really good game, that one. It's on my Road Rash box. There we go. Yeah, the Road Rash box doesn't shut properly. Oh, what we got here now? Jurassic Park, which hasn't got the manual. Again, I think I picked this up from a car boot. There's so many different versions of this game knocking around at the time. I've got the Super Nintendo one. Have I got any other ones? No. But I think they're all different. The Master System one was different. The NES one was different. The SNES one was more like the Amiga version. But yeah, I don't know. It's based on the giant film of the day. So I went back to see in the cinema when I used to go to the cinema many years back. Here's one from my old mate, You've Been Gamed. This is Brian Lara's Cricket, which he did a video on a few weeks ago. I bought this brand new when it first came out. Why did I buy it brand new? Just interesting one, their Codemasters did slightly different cartridge variants. Most of the cartridges you've seen so far have been square. This one was slightly different, and some of their other releases actually had sort of like cartridge ports built into it. So that's why that was a bit different. I think I just like to be a bit different to the Codys. This was an update of the old Graham Gucci's Audio Genic, Graham Gucci's World Class Cricket on the Amiga, I think it was, which wasn't a great game. This one's alright. Played a lot of this when it first came out, and it went to the top of the Mega Drive best-selling chart in the UK. Sat at the top for quite some time. It's amazing because it's a cricket game, but loads of people bought it. It capitalised on Brian Lara, who'd scored 501 for Warwickshire against Somerset, I think it was, Edgbaston. Same day I did my History A-level exam. Because I remember because my lecturer tapped me on the shoulder, he goes, Lara, 501. Really? Yeah. That was after the exam finished. He didn't tell me during the meeting because he would disqualify me, wouldn't he? And of course he made 375 against England previous winter. And then went on to score 401 against England many years later. Great cricketer was Brian Lara. If you don't like cricket, sorry about that. So you just sort of wake yourselves up slowly and catch up with the rest of us. It was actually two games. Actually, the whole Brian Lara franchise was great. There's that one. There was, I think it was a '96 version. Then there was the one that came out the PlayStation 1, which was again completely different to that. Really well done. And then obviously the version that came out on the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox 360. Really good games. Don't think they've quite captured it since with the International Crickets and the Ashes games, but yeah, not bad at all, that one. I find very great difficult in finding much about this game. This is NBA All-Star Challenge. Now, I don't know much about it. It's got no manual. I know it's got no manual, I'll tell you that. But every time I try and see how much this is sort of worth, or I just can't find anything about it. CX don't seem to list it on their website for some reason. Again, I don't think it's particularly collectible or rare. You're playing sort of like, it's to do with the NBA All-Star Weekend where they had the All-Star Game, and they do like one-on-one, 3 throwing contests, 3-point shootouts, horse, and then there's the All-Star Tournament itself. So I don't think it's particularly rare. I don't recognise many of these names at all these people on the front, because I don't really watch basketball. But I picked that again, a car boot job, quid or something like that. Not a great deal gone into it, doesn't owe me a fat lot. Mentioned leaderboard earlier. This was world class leaderboard, which came out on the Mega Drive. Also got this in a Master System. This was originally, of course, the going outside there. Came out for the 64, Commodore 64 back in the day, and I even had a version of this on the Amiga as well. I must love my leaderboard. I do. I think leaderboard was a great game. It was basic golf, but very playable without being, you know, too easy or too hard. It was quite difficult to master at certain points. Putting was quite difficult, and then obviously PGA Tour Series took it to the next level. But they were great games. They really were good fun. Just 3 to go. This one is Theme Park, which I think I saw at the Birmingham Game Market for £1. I should have checked with it if he's got a manual. There'd be an upgrade on this one because I ain't got the manual for this one, sadly. Again, this was a car boot job. Again, it's got the blue label, different label cover on this one. Electronic Arts used to put yellow labels at the side of there, so you can sort of pick theirs out. Not a great condition copy, a bit tatty, but again, car boot job. If you if you played Amiga PC games, you would have played something. Those theme park world, you know, theme hospital, anything with the word theme in it. Yeah, you'd have picked that up. Got this from a car boot as well, because I didn't know. I thought this was it's actually an arcade game, but when I read about it, it was got very sort of bad reviews because it was trying to be sort of 3D and it didn't quite work. But it does have a Woolworths sticker at the top, which is always nice to see. This is Galaxy Force 2. I love the artwork on these early games. Absolutely amazing. No manual with this one, but it does have a label inside which says $19.99 for Woolworths. You might not be able to see that. You probably won't. I won't try and bore you with that. Yeah, $19.99 from Woolworths. Back in the day when we had a Woolworths. Yeah, based on an arcade game, but not a great conversion because it was just the 3D was just too much for it to Mega Drive to cope with. And then another car boot pickup, and the last game I have to show you, no manual I suspect, and this is Pitfall. The Mayan Adventure. Again, pick this up a card boot. No manual, sadly. Does have the old game in there, which is good. So I wasn't quite sure because it felt very light. And this again was an update on that. People, I'm not sure if this is meant to be any good or not. I ain't entirely sure. I think it came out on the SNES as well. But again, car boot job for £1 or 50p back in, you know, back many years ago, when I forgot how long ago it was. That's it. So those are my Mega Drive games. Now, for somebody who loves the Mega Drive so much, and compared to other people's collections, you might think I might have a few more than that, but I don't. I sort of don't. I wish now I hadn't sold my Mega Drive back years ago. I should have kept hold of it and sort of gone from there. But I wanted PlayStation 1 games, damn it. So it was sort of a bit old hat then. I feel strange saying that was a bit old hat when I was sort of buying PlayStation 1 games, because I buy old hat now. So I've sort of come around full circle. But I loved the Mega Drive. It was just it gave me so much joy. Not probably this stuff, because the experience I had when I owned one was just amazing. I put hours into Madden 94. I bought FIFA 95 brand new. I bought the Brian Lara game. And you're thinking, God, I bought those. What are rubbish? They old sports games. Yeah, but I also had Golden Axe. I had Golden Axe 2. I had Streets of Rage. I'm desperate. I was racking my brain before this video trying to think of all the other games that I had. I borrowed a copy of Marvel Land, the Japanese import, from a mate of mine, his converter. I had Wrestle War, which I know people again will think is an incredibly average game, but I used to play that in the arcade, and then I had it on the home system. And what's the other one I just thought of, which now disappeared out the back one? Captain America and the Avengers. Again, people say it's a horrible home conversion, as it was, but I played it so much. And it just gave me so much happiness. That's why I love the Mega Drive. It just filled a really big part, you know, sort of like. And even when I went to university, I took it with me then, even though I'd sort of moved on from that, playing PC games. It still went with me to university, and I still played on it then. I still dragged it out and played it on that. So yeah, it was just amazing, absolutely amazing. I really loved it, and I still love it. And if I see anything out and about, like I did a couple of weeks at the Birmingham Game Market, I'll pick a good couple of games for it and just keep feeding it games every now and again. It might not like the games, but you know, not my choice, is it? I'm going on. Thank you very much indeed for watching. I hope you really enjoyed that. That was quite good. I quite enjoyed that one. More collection videos to come. If you did enjoy that, do the old bell thingy, ring the bell, leave a comment. That would be nice. Subscribe if you really enjoy what you see. There's plenty more to come, and if you liked it, that would be nice as well, because it makes it all worthwhile, doesn't it? I'm off for a lie down. Thanks very much indeed for tuning in. We'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.